I don't. Hey, it's Wednesday, November 4th, and kids are weird. Unlike adults who are completely normal. No. And so we're going to get into one for those of you at home who are trying to figure out what headphones to put on. We're not doing impact learning today. We're just going to do normal learning that still impacts you, just not quite in the same way. I apologize for apparently ruining your guys' days, but we are going to hopefully get into a poem that'll at least make you somewhat smile. Mina, I just got started. What? Yes, that was it. Fine. Jagger. Yes, because I was trying. Zimmy.
My mom watched one of your classes and she said, "Are you like this every day?"
Are you like this every day? Me? I'm completely normal. I thought she was talking about you, Zimmy, and she was like, "Zimmy, what is wrong with you?" And yes, I know, no impact learning. You guys are so sad. Green. Okay. Why not share? Put cyanide in Coke. That's not good. Why not sharing a thing? All right. Oh, that's cool. Normally it has a green board. Home children, can you see the screen right now? Yeah.
What's a screen?
Not you. I'm talking about the normal children. All right. And then most of them are nodding their head. All right. Normally, whenever I'm sharing, it has like a green border, but there's no green border, but it says I'm sharing, so I got confused. I'm like, I don't know. We'll blame Simmy's mom. All right. Curious. All right. Then back to here, and apparently computer having issues today. I really missed my green border. It's freaking me out. Anyway, for here, I did assign new IXL, which is connected to Rhyme Scheme for my handful of kids who have already done it. I've not taught Rhyme Scheme yet. If you're one of the 5 kids who emailed me going, I don't understand what I'm doing, that's because I've not explained it to you yet. That's coming up tomorrow where I go through and explain Rhyme Scheme to you. If you're one of my kids who already knows how Rhyme Scheme works, good job, go you. Then it should be somewhat easier on you to make life better. The drawback is new IXL is called F.3. Last week's IXL was called F.3. And so it just happened to be that last week's was the 5th grade one, and then this week is the 7th grade one. So it made things apparently somewhat confusing for people because it required reading and thinking, and most kids like, get that out. And so it got way too exhausting. So for this week, it should be the one about Rhyme Scheme, which is 7th grade F.3. Judging by my several kids who got confused and already did it, apparently 1, it should not take you super long to do. And 2, it should take you even less time to do once I've taught you how to do it, which happens tomorrow, or for you guys Friday, depending on when you get a chance to watch it. But either way, it shouldn't be super duper hard, I don't think so.
Mr. Broviak, I submitted it and it's not late for once. Huh.
I'm so proud of you, Happy. Nicely done. Go you. You don't even have to email me then if it's on time. So you just have to go back and do the other ones. I'm gonna give you one of these just for Happy.
Oh.
Let's go with quick rewindy thing just to make sure kids paid attention. If you don't have this written down on papery thing, write it down on papery thing somewhere just to make sure that you're smart. Or if you have it memorized, that's fine. Just don't come back and yell at me later and be like, Mr. Broviak, me be dumb. Like you might be dumb. What is the stanza? Nicely done. And then we have our example ones. Separated by what? Making sure. Separated by the big space. And we went through and we did county counts on Caterpillar. How many stanzas in that one? Apparently it's more of a struggle already. Roo hits back. He ran away and hid, and now he's returning. He missed me so much. Roo hit, singing the Roo hit song. All right, here we go. And then we got to this poem. And that was how many? Good job. So those of you who are at home trying to figure it out, if you county, spacey things, and you get the weird ones at the bottom. So this is about as tough as I can make figuring out stanzas. The main thing. Hopefully I'll try to make you guys count a couple on the quiz just to see how smartical you are. But beyond that, there's not a whole lot we can do. All right. What is a speaker in a poem? So once again, it should be the character that's in there that talks directly to us. Not every poem has a speaker. So not every poem is going to have a character talking to us. Then we got to the one of the 7 has somewhat to say poem. Excuse me, as we got to this one, I went through and read it to blue children. In theory, you were at home and still paying attention. So let's see how well you blue children do. As we read it, what gender is the speaker? Don't gender shame. We're getting there. So where's my evidence it's male? Whoa, whoa. Are you saying women can't use tools? Wow. Yes, there you go. Because it says
Sexist
bachelor.
much?
Wow. And Eli knows. He's sexist all the time. Oh, sorry. And so much. Anyway, back to here. What is the definition of bachelor? More than a male. There you go, because I'm a guy and I am not a bachelor, or Mrs. Me would get really upset. All of you should say I am a bachelor, or Mama you might have a discussion, including Mama Zimmy. And so on that one, here's my random. I'm so glad you brought Mama Zimmy into this. We get to just make her a fun part of it. So that's a random bachelor. I literally just Googled bachelor and that picture popped up. So don't think that's the speaker in this particular poem. I don't know. It's a random picture of a dude, apparently. Then, ooh, that's me not caring. So then we got to what does our bachelor look like on the facial area? Where's our evidence? Ooh, and how many roommates does he have? There you go, 6 roommates, 7 total. And he's doing the not shavy thing, which means he gets to look like that. He gets a big fuzzy beard thing going, although his beard probably looks slightly better than mine, has less white in it because he's dealt with fewer teenagers. And then now to his job, what evidence we have to his job? And that's where the pickaxes and shovels come in, which tells us what kind of job should he have. There you go. Works for me. And then we have the house. Tyler. There is. Good stuff. All right. And so we have the fact that it's all messy, and the fact that there's 6 roommates, and the fact that he's a bachelor, and the fact that they're all grumpy all the time because dudes. And then who shows up to make them upset? A woman. And then with the woman, what does woman do? So apparently, I know, women with their cleaning and organization and making you have dinner at certain times and stuff like that, doing all of those womany things. Apparently she dusts ceilings all the way down to the floor. And then we should be able to use evidence in poem to figure out who the speaker is, which is, actually back up. Who's the girl in the poem? Snow White. And then who is the speaker in the poem? From the, there you go. So we find out speaker using evidence in poem, much like we do with short stories. My goal with poetry is making you go through, understand, analyze, break down, stuff like that. Joey. It's okay. They are not with Tinkerbell. That would be Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, a different connection of boys. There are a lot of boys in Disney things. Then our evidence in the poem that he does not hate the girl. There you go. And if you want to hurt someone's feelings, you do hate them. If you're like, oh, your nose looks funny and your feet smell like pigsties, then you're trying to hurt someone's feelings, as opposed to like, what's wrong with your face and you should wear shoes. Where you're trying to not hurt their feelings because you like them. But he does hate something, which is, it's the cleaning that he hates. Well done. That was our training poem. Now we're going to go into a slightly tougher poem before we get to go into like tougher, offer poems. So now, our next thing to define, alliteration. If you know what alliteration is and you haven't memorized, you don't have to write it down. If you don't know what alliteration is, you're probably going to want to write it down because it's going to be popping up on the quiz tomorrow. He says, hashtag hint, hint, worst hashtag ever. Alliteration. You guys know what alliteration is? Oh, good. What is alliteration? It is. There you go. So multiple words in a row starting with the same sound. Multiple words. A lot of times, if those of you who are superhero fans, a lot of people's secret identities seem to be alliteration. Peter Parker, Bruce Banner, Wonder Woman, stuff like that. Bruce Wayne would be Batman. Bruce Banner is the Hulk. Apparently, more than one person can have the name Bruce. Weird. Well, no, one's DC and one's Marvel. Yes, Hulk is Marvel, DC's going to be Batman. Believe it or not, this is an area I'm actually well versed in. Oh yeah, I'm shocked. What does it seem like? So know the alliteration because you're going to have to be finding alliteration in this first poem. Let's already begin your training. We have alliteration in first poem. We do. The giant poem right in front of you. Nope, that's not the poem in front of you. The poem in front of, that was weird of me saying the poem in front of you and then putting a poem in front of you. Mama's in me. Joey is correct because it repeats that whole S sound. She scrubs, she sweeps, she. And so you have that repetition sound is where the alliteration comes in. The poem we're going to get to today about the hungry little caterpillar, it's got a whole bunch of alliteration in it. It's like a chocolate chip cookie of alliteration, where each chocolate chip is a piece of alliteration and the cookie is the poem. And it really feels like I nailed that analogy. So that's what we're going to get into with our stuff for today. So now go over and find a poem called Caterpillar, which is right next to the poem called the one of the seven. And we're going to get to new thing, which is caterpillar. Ooh, first question. How many stanzas in this poem? 6. Good job for those of you who can do counting things. Jagger. It is, in the fact it has a caterpillar and it has a caterpillar eating things. Beyond that, no. There's a good chance that either this poem was written because of the book or this book was written because of the poem, or they're not connected to each other at all. It could be any one of those. All right, then let's get to, I am going to read poem to you. What I want you to do is mark on paper any of the alliteration you find as we go through. That would make it easier to find things. And then we're going to walk you through how to dissect poem and to break it down and stuff like that. Wish you luck. All right. The caterpillar. Oh, wait, back up. Speaker, as we look at it up here, it has Robert Graves, by the way, not the speaker. Robert Graves would be the, works for me, the poet or the author. Just that you're aware, as we get into the poem, don't think Robert Graves is like sitting on a leaf eating little berries and you're like, he's a strange man. He may be a strange man, but that's not who the speaker in the poem is. Under this loop of honeysuckle, a creeping colored caterpillar, I gnaw the fresh green hawthorn spray. I nibble it leaf by leaf away. Down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses, rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. Here come raindrops, helter skelter. I munch and nibble unregarding. Hawthorn leaves are juicy and firm. I'll mind my business. I'm a good worm. When I'm old, tired, no, hiccup, try it again. Hiccup again, try it. Reset. When I'm old, tired, melancholy, I'll build a leaf green mausoleum close by here on this lovely spray and die and dream the ages away. Some say worms win resurrection with white wings beating, flitter, flutter. But wings or a sound sleep, why should I care? Either way, I'll miss my share. Under this loop of honeysuckle, a hungry, hairy caterpillar, I crawl on my high and swinging seat and eat, 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 as one ought to eat. Good stuff. Those of you who found alliteration, hold on to it until he gets the right stanza. I know you're excited. I found my chocolate chips. Let's get into breaking it down as we go through. First stanza, on the loop of honeysuckle, a creeping colored caterpillar, I gnaw the fresh green hawthorn spray. I nibble it leaf by leaf away. What is our alliteration here? There you go. Creeping colored caterpillar. Once we found alliteration, now let's go to the next part, figuring out what things mean in poem that you may not understand. Honeysuckle. You know what honeysuckle is?
It sounds like
It does sound like honey. That you're on the right track, actually. It is a little flower.
a flower.
Honeysuckle is like a bear, but in a flower form. No, it's nothing like a bear. A honeysuckle is like a little yellow flower, and the reason they're called honeysuckle is you have these little flowers on the plant that you can pluck off, and they look like funnels, those are like little funnily looking things, and you can pluck them off, and you can suck out the nectar, and it tastes like honey. At least it's supposed to taste like honey. My grandma, who grew up back during like the Great Depression times when we had dinosaurs and stuff like that, apparently this is what they considered candy, according to my grandma, because she tried to convince me of that when I was a child. We were like walking through the woods one day, and she's like, candy grows on trees. I was like, what, Grandma? That's the best thing in the world. She's like, this is called a honeysuckle. I'm like, is the candy hidden behind the bush? She goes, no. You pluck these things off and you suck them, and it's like candy. And I'm like, sweet. I pulled one off, and I popped it in my mouth. I was like, it's like, that tastes like a flower. But apparently, according to her, it tasted like honey. If you're an old person who never had candy before, apparently this bush was delicious. To a child who grew up eating Tootsie Rolls, it was not delicious. It tasted like eating a plant. But apparently, old people are weird when they name things. So that's what a honeysuckle is. Tyler, this is nectar. I think it collects whenever the bees go around. It collects whatever that honey flavor is from the bees' legs, and it's supposed to taste a lot like honey. Problem is, I don't like honey either, so it was like a double thing. So apparently, if you like honey and you like bee juice, then you're good to go. Mina. Yeah, so she was like, I don't know, 144. I don't know how numbers work. All I know is that she was like super old. I am old, and she was even older than me, because that's how grandparents were.
What?
Oh, you said you're old.
I've never denied it.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
you said that girl was that woman from the landlady.
Yes, you did.
You said she wasn't old, so
No,
you're
what? Because
right.
that's completely different. Jack, are you okay? Did you hurt yourself drinking? Okay.
I was wondering, how old are
44 still, hasn't changed.
you?
44 and a half, apparently.
When's your birthday?
Oh, my birthday is, apparently I was wrong. Focusing, children. Back to here. Hawthorne spray. So we go to our next one. I had not planned on doing impact learning, but apparently, Evan, are you wanting to yell at me too, or are you going to be a good child? Evan?
Hawthorne spray is tree.
Nicely done. Look at you, Evan. Way to tag it. Hawthorne spray, he's right, is a type of tree. If you had no idea, if you were not Evan and had no idea that hawthorne spray was a tree, what clues in poem would tell you that it was a tree? Say which is?
Leaf.
The fact that it's talking about whatever the speaker is eating it, is fresh, and it's green, should hopefully be clues, and it's not like a can of paint. So you should be able to use clues in poem to figure out what it is. And it's called a hawthorne spray, not because it's like the water bottle that you use to keep your cat off the counter. And you're like, bad cat, and you sprayed it and chased it around. Spray is because it's supposed to look like it's spraying out of the plant. If like the plant grew up and it's like a skunk, and all of a sudden the leaves came shooting out, that's what the spray is. So apparently they're trying to be creative. Andrew, are you raising your hand or trying to block the knowledge from hitting your head? Andrew, what's up?
Or you could just like search it up on your phone or your iPad or
Good.
any device
Because
really.
Junior high children are incredibly lazy. And even though I offer that to them all the time, they go,
What's so
what?
serious for?
I'm with you, boo. That does not stop kids from being lazy.
Why is
So-
the mic so good?
Because he's got a special mic that allows, I have no idea, because Hawthorne spray. And then we get to our speaker in the poem, and who is our speaker talking? And that's where you get to the, I know the fresh green Hawthorne spray, I nibble it leaf by leaf away. So you can figure out that we're zooming in, and we get caterpillar. There's our caterpillar. And our caterpillar in poem has one hobby so far that he's doing, which is so our caterpillar only cares about one thing, which is eating. Jagger. We're not there yet. Stop trying to learn ahead. That's future us. We're going to get there. Stanza 2. Down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses, rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. For those of you, my smart children, there's a reason why I pronounce that last word as again, as opposed to again. For those of you who already did the IXL, why would the reason be? Rhyme scheme.
Rhyme. No, because there's an I. There's no I in rain.
That is true. There is an I
Chill
in,
out.
and there is an I, and I charge you points. So other than that, you're good. So if you go back to the previous one, spray away, last two lines rhyme, lane, and you can't say again because then they don't rhyme. So it becomes lane and again. If we flip-flop those two lines and it said blah, 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 I eat and swallow and eat again, rooks flat croaking across the, it would be pronounced lin, because it didn't have to rhyme the same way. You have to make sure your rhyming matches up. Again, land, how are you going to pronounce it? What's important is that you struggle with it. Line up. So back up to here. So as we go through and what's up, Mrs. Stump? Teacher. All right. So to here, we figuring out things you might not know. Oh wait, do we have any of the what do you call that thing? Alliteration? No, I'm gonna go the same thing. No big alliteration. Dandelions. You know what dandelions are? Marshmallows? Yellow marshmallows. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. This white thing is really open up there. And so if you have no idea, dandelions, they're the ones that look like this, that start off yellow. And then when they're ready to spread their diseasey things all over your neighbor's yard, they flip to that. So those are the exact same thing, by the way, this and that. I had no idea that kids did not know this, but apparently that has been a shocker. Every time I've ever taught this poem, I do this and then this, and I have kids go, "You're full of lies." I'm like, well, I am, but this is not one of them. So yeah, whenever this is ready to then bloom and spread its little diseasey bits to other yards, it closes up for a couple days and reopens and goes, "Achoo!" I said, "Achoo!" And then ends up looking like that, and that's the same thing. So that's dandelion. Next word, daisies. What's a daisy? Yeah, you got the word flower in there, nicely done. This is the one that has yellow center and it has little white things that go around the outside of it. Is in cartoons, is the one you see them pluck. And they're like, "He loves me not, he loves me, I hate him." And they smash it. So that's the one they're talking about when he's ready to plucky as you go around. Daisies. Here's the part where it's going to require thinking. Old man's looking glasses. Young monkey child? Not bad. No. Joey? Big circle. Here's your hint. See where it says down beneath grow, and then it's listing things. Dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses. So what is a dandelion? A type of? Daisies is a type of? Old man's looking glasses is? Yeah, a type of flower. Mr. Broviak, you wanted us to think. Yes, children, they're listing things. So even if you've never heard of it, they're not talking about flower. Drunk old men dropping things. It's not all of a sudden take like a complete turn. It's just, even though you've never heard of old man's looking glasses, it's a type of growy thing. This is where using poem to figure out hints comes in. But Mr. Broviak, can I just Google that? You could Google that one, Griffin, but it's probably not going to come up. It's going to come up with a pair of old men dropping glasses.
Bet I'm gonna search it up right now.
Go for it. But also, sometimes it helps to just use your brain. Well, Mr. Broviak, that's exhausting. Yes, I'm aware. Joey. Got we're on the same page. Then we're going to introduce bad stuff into our poem, where we have down beneath grow dandelions, daisies, old man's looking glasses, rooks flap croaking across the lane. I eat and swallow and eat again. We enter our danger. What is our danger in Caterpillar Town? The rook. You guys know what a rook is?
Flower.
It literally came up with a bunch of old guys wearing
Here's our caterpillar. A rook is a type of bird, as opposed to a frog, which I often have kids tell me, Mr. Brogby, after danger is a frog, because it says croaking. But the problem is, what evidence in the poem would prove it is not a frog? Again, this is where I'm trying to push you guys to do the whole flappy learning thing. It says flap, and it can't be a frog if it's flapping, unless you just chuck the frog at the caterpillar. And even then, I'm not sure the frog frantically waving its arms counts as flapping. I believe the scientific term is flailing, and then it's not going to grab the caterpillar. It's going to go, and when it hits the thing that you're throwing it towards. So again, trying to make you do the whole learning thing. So here, the rook's flap croaking across the lane. So bird goes flying across. Why is this a danger in Caterpillar Town? Because caterpillars can pick up birds? So you use pronouns, so it got really confusing. So yes, the reason it is a danger in Caterpillar Town is the bird, as it flies across, could eat our little caterpillar. If you were a smart caterpillar, what would you do when bird goes by? Because you're smart, because if not, you get eaten. So all the smart caterpillars run and hide. What does our caterpillar do? Our caterpillar shakes his little fists up at the sky, and he's like, you can't control me, Mr. Bird. And he just keeps on eating and doing his num, 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 num thing, which we're going to get to with our theme here in a moment. Yes, Mina? That's why I keep ignoring you. You have to have the good questions on there. And yes, a rook is a type of raven. It's a type of crow. They're all sort of in that same category of large black birds that like to eat small caterpillars.
I've come with good news.
Yes,
I
Andrew.
found it. Okay, apparently it's called the Monotropa uniflora. So
Yes.
I did
Old
find
man
it.
is a much easier way of saying that one. Feels like you nailed that one. Go
Well, when
you.
I searched that up, there was just a bunch of old men with like glasses, and they were staring at me weirdly. But
That's right. So Googling doesn't always solve the problem. Sometimes you have to Google and think, which is scary.
that's too much work.
Flippy, not dead. Jagger, I don't know. I didn't name it. I don't, because apparently they look like old men who drop things in the grass. But we're not done with dangers in Caterpillar Town. Stanza 3, we get to more dangers. Here come raindrops, helter skelter. I munch and nibble unregarding. Hawthorn leaves are juicy and firm. I'll mind my business. I'm a good worm. Which is apparently the part that really bothered Jagger, which is we're going to get to in a moment to try and help him out. So in this one, do you have any major alliteration? Helter skelter is not, that's rhyming, that's not alliteration. So no, we're good to go alliteration wise. Then word wise, we don't know. I'm assuming, oh wait, who's our speaker of the poem still? I forgot to put the caterpillar. Good boy, caterpillar. Helter skelter. Probably a phrase you don't know. Helter skelter it means crazily with a whole bunch of intensity. When we go down to lunch, we are not helter skelter. We bring you guys down there in a line. It would be helter skelter if the teachers, when the bell went off, we just opened the door and yelled at our kids, go get it. And you guys all ran down the hallway, like throwing elbows at each other, like, that's my food. And you only have like so much food for people, and you're like knocking small children out of your way. That would be helter skelter. So when it says, here come raindrops, helter skelter, what is that telling us about the raindrops? So what kind of rain is it?
pouring rain.
There you go. So it's not little sprinkly rain. It's going to be the intense downpour of a rain. Jagger. Yeah, in the class. And so now we have intense downpour of rain. So what is our new danger in Caterpillar Town? Why? Realize caterpillars are not witches from the Wizard of Oz. So they don't melt when they get wet. Tomorrow, we're going to find out why you should not get caterpillars wet because apparently they're similar to mogwais from Gremlins, and they're going to turn into horrible creatures and eat small children. Other than that, we'll see you guys later tomorrow and fun stuff from there. Yeah, share your fun facts. What you got?